Welcome to Honeybee. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Real stories of love, lies, and betrayal, where every truth stings. Let's begin. My name is Ben, honestly discovering that the person you built your entire life with has been cheating on you, possibly for who knows how long, is a pain I wouldn't wish on anyone. The worst part? It was happening right under my nose, hidden in the middle of our ordinary everyday routine. In a single moment, my life split in two, the time before I knew and everything after. And ever since that day, I've been stuck living in the after. But let me start from the beginning. After college, I landed a job at a mid-sized tech company. It paid the bills, gave me structure, and made me feel like I was on the right path. But deep down, I knew I didn't belong in that world. I wasn't the corporate type. I didn't care about quarterly goals or impressing strangers in conference rooms. I wanted something quieter, something that felt like me. Not long after Lillian and I got married and started having kids, I finally made the leap, walking away from the tech world. At first, I freelanced, slowly picking up clients and projects until it became a real career. The money wasn't great in the beginning, but it gave me something I valued more than a big paycheck: time. Time to stay home, raise my kids, and actually live life instead of just watching it slip by from behind a desk. Lillian was the ambitious one. Even before we met, she was already working at a big law firm, and she stayed there after we married. Her work was nonstop. Constant motion, depositions, out-of-town client meetings, lobbying for major business interests. Some weeks she was here, others she was jetting between states. Always in a suit, always rushing. Always juggling deadlines like the weight of 5 people's jobs rested on her shoulders. But she promised me early on it wouldn't always be like this. She told me the travel, the late nights, the missed birthdays, they were all temporary. She said that once she made a name for herself, she'd slow down and focus more on us. I believed her. I supported her. To me, every sacrifice we made back then was an investment in a better future. So I tried to stay patient. Even when she didn't come home on the nights she said she would. One Tuesday night, I was in the kitchen while the kids were upstairs doing homework when Lillian walked through the door looking completely drained. She didn't even take off her heels before speaking. She told me she'd been picked for a major case out of state, Chicago, and she'd have to leave the very next day. I asked her what kind of case it was and why she was told so suddenly. She explained that the firm had been deciding between a few attorneys, and at the last minute, they chose her as second chair because her specialty lined up perfectly with the arguments they needed to make. She said she tried to decline, told them the timing was bad because of her family, but according to her, they insisted. She made it sound like an honor, an opportunity that could push her career even further. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't frustrated. It was short notice, and she had already been gone so much. The kids missed her. I missed her. But this was everything she had worked toward. Being a top attorney, getting big cases, working complex trials. I remembered how she used to dream about this back when we first got married. So I swallowed my frustration and told her I understood. I told her to go and give it her all. She promised she'd call and FaceTime with us whenever she could and said she'd be home on Saturday, her birthday. I nodded and said, okay, even though I wasn't okay. The next morning, she was up early, dragging her suitcase down the stairs before the kids woke up. I helped her load the taxi, and before she left, she kissed me and said, I'll text you when I land. A few hours later, she did, telling me she'd landed safely and was heading to her hotel. That evening, during a FaceTime call with the kids, she casually mentioned her hotel name and room number for security. She looked tired but happy, and I actually felt proud of her. It felt like all the sacrifices were finally paying off. I didn't know then that this call, this small moment of reassurance, was the start of the most painful discovery of my life. By Friday night, I was already preparing for Lillian's return. The next day was her birthday. The kids had made cards. We planned to bake a cake, and I even bought her favorite bottle of red wine. I was genuinely excited to have her back home. Then my phone buzzed. It was a text from Lillian. She said something unexpected had happened with the case, and she wouldn't be coming home on Saturday. She'd have to stay through the following week. She said she was sorry that she missed us and promised to make it up to us. I stared at that message for a long time. I knew this was part of her job. Big cases are unpredictable, but this was her birthday. Later that night, sitting on the couch, I realized how much I missed my wife. Her schedule had been brutal for months. We hadn't had a weekend together in forever. I remembered I had enough reward points for a few flights. So I logged in and checked. Sure enough, we had more than enough for 3 round-trip tickets. Then a thought hit me. Why wait for her to come home when we could go to her? Why not surprise her for her birthday? I called the kids downstairs. How would you feel about surprising Mom this weekend? I asked. Their faces lit up instantly. My daughter clapped, my son shouted, "For real?" That was all I needed. I booked our flights for the next morning and even reserved a room in the same hotel, on the same floor, just a few doors down from hers. The kids were so excited that night they could barely sleep. We landed around noon the next day, buzzing with excitement. We went straight to the hotel, checked in, and didn't even unpack. Within minutes, we were standing outside her door, my heart pounding in my chest. I knocked twice, smiling, ready to create a memory we'd talk about for years. The door opened, but it wasn't Lillian. It was a man, shirtless. He looked surprised, like he'd been expecting room service, not a man standing there with 2 kids. Then Lillian appeared behind him, wrapped in a towel. Her eyes went wide. She froze. Then panic flashed across her face. My kids stood there in stunned silence. They didn't fully understand, but they knew something was very wrong. I said nothing. I just grabbed their hands, turned around, and walked away. I heard her call my name, but I didn't stop. I didn't trust myself to speak. When I finally did look at her, I asked, my voice cracking, "Is this what you do every time you're out of town?" She broke down crying, begging me to forgive her, but I couldn't. The pain was too deep for words. Back in our hotel room, the kids bombarded me with questions. Who was that man? Why was he in Mom's room? Why did she look so scared? I couldn't answer. I just sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the floor. Eventually, I told them to pack up. We were going home that night. At the airport, I just sat silently, watching planes take off. On the flight, I stared out the window, numb. By the time we landed, I had made up my mind. This marriage was over. On Monday, I got the kids ready for school, dropped them off, and went straight to a divorce lawyer I'd found the night before. I told him everything, how I wanted to protect my kids from more pain. I wasn't after revenge. I just wanted peace. Papers were filed that same day. By the time Lillian flew home midweek, whatever story she prepared, she walked into a stack of divorce papers waiting on our bed. I wasn't there. I didn't want to be. The divorce was brutal. We fought through lawyers for months, over custody, over holidays, over everything. But in the end, the court saw the truth. Lillian's schedule was too chaotic, too unstable. I had always been the one home, the one who knew the kids' routines. So I got full custody. The kids stayed with me, and she was given visitation rights. Because she earned far more than me, she was ordered to pay child support and alimony. I hadn't even asked for alimony. My lawyer pushed for it, so I wouldn't struggle financially. Lillian hated it. She accused me of stealing the kids, screamed that she'd fight to overturn it. But the facts were clear, and deep down, she knew it. Now, with some time and distance, I've had a chance to reflect. I've realized 3 things. First, trust is everything. You can love someone with all your heart, but if there's no trust, love alone is enough. Second, you have to value yourself. I lost sight of that. I kept giving, kept trying to make her happy, until there was almost nothing left of me. Being a good husband doesn't mean being silent while you disappear. And third, actions matter more than words. People can say they love you, say they're loyal, but if their actions don't back it up, the words mean nothing. I learned that the hard way. So now I want to hear from you. What would you have done if you were me? Would you have stayed? Handled it differently? When you're on the outside, it's easy to think you'd be stronger. But when it's your life, your marriage, your kids, It's never that simple. If this story made you think or reminded you of someone you know, share it with them. It might help more than you realize. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this. See you in the next one.